Today we're working on this 2017 Jeep Rubicon. This thing's got the 3.6 Pentastar V6 engine in it. It's pretty common among Chrysler. They got one thing in common, and that's the engine oil cooler. These things leak all the time. I'll show you where it is, show you how to find the leak. They have a tendency to leak internally, where they'll leak oil into the coolant, coolant into the oil, or they'll leak externally. Sometimes they'll leak oil out onto the engine or coolant out onto the engine. In this case, we got coolant leaking out on the engine. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. First, we got to open the hood. Now we'll take this engine cover off real quick. Just pops up. This is where your oil filter lives. This is the oil filter cap. This thing unscrews, you take the oil filter out. And down inside here, underneath that, is the oil filter housing. If you look way down in here, between the oil cooler and the engine head, you can see a puddle of oil down there. You can kind of see it reflecting here. And that oil is coming out of the oil cooler. All right, so we're gonna start taking this intake manifold off right here. Once I get that off, you'll be able to see the entire oil cooler. It's gonna make a lot more sense. So one thing I forgot to mention is that this thing does have a two-part intake manifold. So I've already taken the first part off, the upper plenum, and now I gotta take this lower plenum off real quick. To do that, I gotta unplug all the fuel lines, all the fuel injectors, move all these hoses and everything out of the way, unbolt it, and then lift it up. So now I got your intake manifold taken off. This whole thing right here, from here all the way back to here, is your oil cooler. Back here you got your oil temp sensor, your oil pressure sensor, and you even got where your engine coolant comes into here to cool the oil off. We gotta drain the coolant so that it doesn't mix with the oil when we take it off. We're gonna go ahead and start unbolting this cooler, and we'll take this whole assembly is gonna come up out of here. I've already been cleaning a bunch of liquid and stuff out of here, but there's oil all in this valley in here. I'm gonna have to clean up a lot more because it's still pretty nasty. Here's what that oil cooler looks like out on the outside. It's got all these sensors on the back. This is where your coolant comes in and then goes through these different channels. But this thing is plastic on the bottom. It has a tendency to crack or leak. These seals leak, but there is an updated design, and this one we got from AutoZone, and it has all the new parts and everything. You see everything's in pieces. It has an orange cap to signify that this has been upgraded. But look at this. This housing, I believe, is aluminum. It's not plastic anymore, it's metal. So it's much more durable. It comes with all new seals. It's a whole kit. This happens so common on these cars, they just made a whole kit for it. And so we're gonna replace this plastic piece with this more durable metal piece. We got all our new seals in here. We got the new oil filter with the cap, got everything put together. Let's go ahead and put it back on the car. Now we got to install the lower plenum, and this thing has gaskets on top for the upper plenum and gaskets underneath for the lower plenum. So we got to replace all those intake manifold gaskets, got to be replaced. Luckily, the kit came with new gaskets, so we're good to go. So we got everything put back together. You can see your orange oil filter cap right here telling you that this upgrade has been done, and we put some new coolant in the engine. Luckily we didn't have any mixture between the oil and the coolant when we took everything off, so we're going to go ahead and start it up and make sure everything runs right, make sure we don't have any leaks or any issues or anything like that. All right guys, so now we're completely done with this thing. We checked the oil and the coolant, there's no mixture, everything's topped off, there's heat in the car, no leaks, nothing like that. Everything seems to be good, so we'll catch you next time guys. Thanks for watching.